Good morning, and welcome to the very first day of the last month of the year. Yes, it's sweet December, and in this month, we Christians anticipate the birth of Christ. And so we are very happy, we are very, very glad when we are able to wake up, yes, each and every day of this month because we know the source of our joy and we know the source of our life. With me here is Sam Kusi Apia, and we are here to ride you or drive you through these hours that make up the AM Ghana show. It's still here on the only channel where good things are brought to life. That's Adoatv. And Sam.
Hello, good morning. How are you?
I'm blessed and highly favored.
Why are you happy like that?
Hey, it's a new month, and
Some
I'm
people
here.
want the new month to go back. You are
To
smiling.
go back where?
It says December.
Correct.
The way that December is doing.
December be in 9 hours. 9 hours.
The way that December is doing, we may end up using gobe and cook for the Christmas.
It wouldn't be a problem, would it? It's about eating it with some joy.
What is joy about gobe and cook? Like eating chicken, you say. Joy.
Because of this, I'm going to make sure I eat gobe on Christmas.
Oh, ja.
So
December should have called a chikakra, but well, we thank God. I was happy as well this morning when I realized I was up. Yes, and it was 1st December. Thank God for bringing us this far from January and COVID and so many things. We didn't know how.
About to hit on that.
We didn't know how we would get to December, but some way somehow
we were singing by June.
Yes,
we didn't even think June would meet us, right?
But by the grace of God, we are in December, the month of December. It could only be the mercies of the Lord.
And, we thank God.
Yes, we are happy and we are grateful to God. I believe you're also grateful to God. Wherever you're watching us from, good morning to you and a happy new month. We hope that this month brings you a lot of good things, a lot of blessings. The good thing is that we still have 30 or so days to end the year, and it is a lot. It's plenty days to still make an impact, to still turn around your year, to still change your life, to still start that business, to still have those ambitions, anything that you want to do. There's still a lot of time within this year, except those who said they are going to marry last year and this year. Now you have only 3 Saturdays. If you don't have a boyfriend by now or a girlfriend by now, I come.
Grab and go.
So those people, please, you have to postpone it to next year.
Sam, we don't only marry on Saturdays. People can marry on weekdays.
In Ghana here?
Yeah.
How many people?
Oh, it happens.
Oh.
They say it's only those who are chiseled that marry on weekdays.
That's special.
But you have to cut your coat according to your clock.
Those who are chiseled are the ones that marry. It's true. I support that comment with 10 bags of cement. But then it's true. If you are not married yet, please, you have 4 Saturdays or 3 Saturdays. 4 Saturdays. So the people that they were doing, they are bluffing us. Oh, this year, I count 4 Saturdays.
Yeah.
And for those who have boyfriends and girlfriends, good. You still have a chance. If you do not have, trouble is for you. But of course, we have a lot of days to make that change that we require, that we desire in our lives, and our year will still end very, very well. Let us not lose hope. Let us not give up yet, because we still have more time. One also told me, he said, God is up there. He's cheering you guys up. What are you doing? You're trying to give up. Do not give up. Welcome to the new month. My name again is Samuel Kusia. We will take a quick turn, right?
Yes.
When we come back, there is more for you on AM Ghana. Bye-bye.
Welcome aboard the safest airline in Africa. With industry-leading safety measures to protect your well-being. The first in Africa to earn a diamond standard of safety, offering a more contactless, safe, and seamless experience. Delivered with a smile by Africa's first fully vaccinated crew. Creating special memories that bring the joy back to flying, so you can continue making memories with your loved ones. Book your flight with RwandAir today. RwandAir, the safest airline in Africa.
RwandAir, fly the dream of Africa.
CB will make up now. I'm not correct. Why your best mankasa? That's it. You want him one? Oh, middle. He captures about one for CB man capsules. You see, CB man capsules and America.
Yeah, you see men and women's capsules now. You knew the data. And one year packaging I had a pepper.
Wow! What a packaging! CB man, any CB woman capsules, no packaging is out. And you also no mood any biansan wako do pegi.
Share a painful any about town man kwada no for. Any kwada won di fie do ye. En ka ho.
Susanna. Ghana man be man tamase.
Dodo Afre 0247 111671 and 0246 578 750. FDA aje edwedin kato yato.
Right, welcome back, and sorry for that little hitch there, and we are grateful for you as you join us. We have the newspaper segment next. We're going to go through what the newspapers are saying, and trust me, there is a lot more for you in the newspapers. I have one very, very interesting thing that I saw in the newspapers, but I think when we get there, I saw one particular headline that got me. I think you have that newspaper. So, Julia, I'll start with us with the daily graphic as we would go through.
All right, so it is the truth and accuracy. It is truth and accuracy every day. That's the theme or the mantra of daily graphic. And their screaming headline here today says, majority reverses minority decision. Majority reverses minority decision and approves 2022 budget. So it has become a serious issue in our parliament. I don't know if it is a true reflection of what is going on as well in the country, but this is enough. It is enough a debate, enough a topic to last us, I think, throughout the month of December until it is resolved. But I just pray that people will drop off their party colors and try and sit for the betterment of the country. Let's put all our preferences aside and look at what is salient, what is needed for the country. And as Coach was singing, I would have loved to replay that, the song you were singing earlier. If you can't,
please, we won't drop any party thing. We cannot drop it.
We
will
have
do party
until we head on collision. We're going nowhere with this. Please, let's sit up. Let's do something.
We won't drop any party thing. Please, if you want to drop your party, drop your party.
Okay, so the others here, yes, is still concerning issues in Parliament. Budget approval is unconstitutional. That's coming from the minority leader, Mr. Haruna Idrisu. And then from Ken Ofori-Atta, the Minister of Finance, You Start initiative is a game changer. He sees it as a game changer, and that story is captured on pages 24 and 25. So our stories today concerning Parliament, you'll find that on page 3, of course, page 16, page 24, and page 25. The more reason why you do need to grab a copy of the Daily Graphic. There is a special supplement as well on Nana Otuosrebo the second inside there. I'm going to go just straight back behind the Daily Graphic. There is a very bad and sad picture there of a flooded cocoa farm. A flooded cocoa farm.
I learned the gentleman wants compensation.
Yeah. Compel Jutap Construction to compensate me. Does he deserve it? Well,
maybe if you go into the story.
if we go into it a bit. All right. So retiree appeals to Road and Highways Minister. Why is he appealing? He says the 67-year-old retired public servant, Mr. Abraham Kofoya Tete, has made a passionate appeal to the Minister of Roads and Highways, Mr. Kwesi Amwakwata, to compel a construction firm that caused destruction to his cocoa farm at Ibisim, Dawa. I hope I got it correct. In the Suhum municipality of the Eastern region to compensate him. Mr. Kofoya Tete said Jutap Construction Limited blocked the path of a water body during a construction process which caused his cocoa farm to be flooded and some of the crops submerged. He has since appealed to the minister to also ensure that the company reclaimed the farm from the flood waters of River Etiawa, which passes through the farm but was partially blocked for the construction of the Ebisim Dawa Nankese Road leading to the flood. So I believe that due investigations has to be made on this matter, and what is due him should be given to him if they do find his claims true. But that will be it for the Daily Graphic.
Ghanaian Times, a picture of some buildings. Apartments for President Veep's visit to Kumasi abandoned. Story is on page 16. What I know about this is that this project was started in 2006 by President Kufuor and has since been abandoned. So it was supposed to be apartments where President and the Vice President would sleep, or that is if they are traveling to Kumasi, required them to sleep over, but there's a problem with that. Scale up efforts to prevent importation of COVID-19 Omicron variant, GMA to government. And 2022 budgets approved at last as majority reverses decision rejecting it. Mr. Chairman Sabunsu's picture is also here. Gang rape adjourned to December 17th. Gang rape adjourned to December 17th. Okay, let me see what's here. Bridge on Kintampo new. Hey, wait. Now bridge on Kintampo, New Longolo Road fixed. New Longolo Road fixed. Following Ghanaian Times publications. Okay, and regional security village for Techiman in Offin. Regional security village for Techiman in Offin. Scale up efforts to prevent importation of COVID-19 Omicron variant is also here. And political will and witchcraft accusations in Ghana. University of London confers highest honors on Mary Chinwe Hesse. Okay, and late President Rawlings giving lifetime achievement award for contributions to energy sector. Okay, so I will also bring to an end the headlines in the Ghanaian Times newspaper.
And what does the Daily Statesman have to say exactly concerning the parliamentary issues? Bagbane's error rectified. Bagbane's error rectified. Parliament approves 2022 budget. Of course, this coming from the Daily Statesman, and that particular story is on page 2. We have a picture of Joseph Osei Owusu, the first deputy speaker of Parliament, there in quite a good smile. I think he has everything under control. That's what his smile implies for me. Right on top of that, we have SNIT assures pensioners of regular payments of pensions. SNIT assures pensioners of regular payments of pensions. I heard someone saying the other time that these people who have to, you know, I don't know what name they give to them, but those who have to sign or do whatever it is for pensioners to receive their pensions, some of them are being a little mischievous when it comes to doing their part. They look at your name, and if you have done them some injustice in the past, it is time they pay. Please, these are pensioners. For all that is due, just give to them what they deserve and let them go. If you are in the habit of doing that, I'm talking to those of you in charge of that. Just let them go. All right. Then on COVID-19, GMA warns of fourth wave. If, and there's a three dots, dot, meaning there's more on this particular story, and it continues on page 2. We're talking about the fourth wave of COVID-19. All right, let's jump to the back page, and I'm happy to do a little sports. I've not heard of any sports for this morning. So on John Sillett, we have Coventry City's 1987 FA Cup winning manager dies, aged 85. Age 85. Wow. All right. So Ronaldo disputes Ballon d'Or organizers' claim about outdoing Lionel Messi. I just knew when I saw yesterday Messi winning, you know, coach is here. I just, when I saw that picture and I read the headline, I knew this is going to be news. Something is going to come. Yes,
of course.
The zero team or camp has to talk. They will.
Yeah, yesterday someone said that the Ballon d'Or event itself is happening in France, but the real pains and the bleeding and the tears are in England and in Portugal. It ends the conversation.
That's a nice summary to it, and that will be it for the Daily Statesman. Do make sure, get 3 CDs and grab a copy. There's more for you there.
Daily Guide is next, and Dufour indicts Mahama on jobs. Dr. Kwabena Dufour, a picture of him here. Dufour indicts Mahama on jobs. Story on page 6. And AG denies drafting new legal reform bill. AG, Attorney General, denies drafting new legal reform bill. There's also a picture of Godfred Yeboah Dame with the president also here. Story also on page 6. NPP OK's 2022 budget, that's the big story here, with 138 NDC boycott. NPP OK's 2022 budget with 138 NDC boycott. Story on page 3. University of London honors Mary Chinwe Hesse. Okay. And President attends Black Caucus Confab. President attends Black Caucus Confab. So MTP okay is the 2022 budget still here. What else is here? Okay, so there is some NHIS story here. This is good. We haven't really spoken about this, but it's captured here. Fallen pylon causes or cause of Kumasi power cuts. And in the latest development, I think the ministry has assured the people of Kumasi that the power cuts would end by the end of December. They couldn't give a schedule. They said they can't give a schedule because of the situation, but they have given a timeline that by December the power cuts in Kumasi will come to a halt. Hopefully, it actually comes to a halt. All right. NIA suspends district services. NIA suspends district services, and well, let me go to the back page. Expect a better marathon. Secondly, third organizers. Ronaldo blasts Ballon d'Or organizer. And Messi admits Lewandowski deserved Ballon d'Or. Team Northern grabs RGCK Centenary Cup. Okay, that's it for the daily guide.
Okay, then for the New Crusading Guide. Yes, the guide. New Crusading Guide. Tag, that's I think that's Traders Advocacy Ghana. I was trying to get a hold of that story, but yeah, so it has to do with Trade Advocacy Ghana appeals for reduction in the e-levy rate, and that story is on page 10. Yes, talking about the e-levy, we are not dropping it now. No. So EcoBank, that's the Pan-African Bank, shows gross disrespect to Supreme Court. You want to know about that? Just grab a copy of the New Crusading Guide. That story is there. And Right Honorable Francisca Oting is Africa most, I think it should be Africa's, yeah? Africa's most inspiring lawmaker of the year. So she has a beautiful, yes, most inspiring lawmaker of the year.
Read again. I think this is the one I said I have an interest in.
Okay. Francisca Oting is Africa's most inspiring lawmaker of the year.
Charlie.
Coach.
Ghana,
Coach.
You do things.
Coach.
Okay.
So jumping from law, I'm going straight to journalism. And asked to be inducted into the NABJ Hall of Fame.
You know, be the whole Ghana self, the whole of Africa.
Yes.
Most inspiring lawmaker in the whole.
I'm wondering, she hasn't inspired you.
They should make it the whole world. Ghana self.
All right, and then the controversial subject, 2022 budget statement approved. Minority missing describes it as a constitutional illegality. All right, so I'm doing a little of sports. That's there on the penultimate page. TV rights revenue should not be equally shared. That's coming from the CEO of Asante Kotoko. All right, so GCB commits more funds into sports development. Thumbs up to GCB. Let's do more, but please this time don't sideline the women. Let's focus more on the women. They are doing or bringing in greater gains into the world of sports. So GCB, good thumbs up to you, but let's commit more into female sports or women sports. So CAS dismisses youngest appeal against Bernard Morrison, and that will be a wrap up for the New Crusading Guide.
Okay, so on that note, kindly hold on for me there before we move on to the next paper. Sami Obin is on the line. Sami Obin is Executive Director for Parliamentary Network for Africa. Let's speak to him and take his comments on what happened yesterday in Parliament. Good morning, Sami. How are you doing, sir?
Good morning, I'm well.
Thank you very much for your time. Thanks for speaking to us. We spoke to you a few days ago concerning the rejection of the budget. That was, yes, I think on Monday, we spoke on Monday. And yesterday, a lot happened in Parliament. The bottom line was that the budget has been approved. What changed?
Well, yesterday was another sitting day of the House. The members of Parliament met, was all the one leaders from the majority side to make a request to the Speaker of the Day. The Speaker found it a suitable request, and he put the question for its adoption. Of course, it was adopted. And so, yes, there was one other sitting day of the House that saw, members of Parliament taking advantage of the technicalities of parliamentary work to override last Friday's sitting. That's what happened.
Here is that there seems to be some confusion after what happened yesterday in Parliament. Now, there are certain numbers that are actually flying around. 275 parliamentarians, half of it, or more than half of it, being 138. Yesterday, we got the report that the Parliament approved the budget without the minority, but the numbers in Parliament were 138. The Speaker at that time, that's the presiding Speaker, didn't vote, and that also reduced the number to 137. Now, how was the budget approved then? Because last week we were told that 137 minority rejected the budget. Now 137 majority is approving the budget. Can you give us that explanation? We really want to understand what's happening.
Well, my argument about the numbers from last Friday right up to now has been as follows. In my opinion, the calculation of how many members of Parliament were present on a particular sitting day, the act will be captured by the votes and proceedings of the House, which is technically the minute of that particular sitting day. And so last Friday, if you take the votes and proceedings, which was published yesterday or adopted yesterday, it indicated that there were 275 members of Parliament present. 276 members of Parliament present.
Yeah.
Although 137 of them walked out at a particular point in time. But my argument is the official record of Parliament, which indicates how many people were seated in the House or were present in the House, will be 276. And so the fact that 274 people were present and a couple of them decided to go out, in my opinion, does not preclude the House from going on with the decision on Friday.
Okay.
In the same way, if you take the votes and proceedings from yesterday, those would actually be adopted today, and those proceedings from the decision of your US is actually the minute, of a particular sitting day. If you take that minute, which will be published today, and the members of Parliament present, it will show 138 names.
Yeah.
Including the
Speaker, the first deputy Speaker.
Presiding. Because that has been the procedure all the while. Whenever a deputy Speaker is presiding, the record will show that a deputy Speaker presided. However, that deputy Speaker will be listed as part of the members of Parliament present. And to my mind, that was the technicalities relied on by the first deputy Speaker to indicate that there were 138 people or members of Parliament in the chamber. However, out of this 137, 38 members, which then satisfies, in his opinion, Article 104.1, not all of them are expected to vote. In fact, some of them should have decided to abstain.
Okay.
But in the end, majority of them should have voted the issue for the issue to stand. So, for example, assuming that there were some of the NPP MPs yesterday who decided to vote no, and yes, those who decided to vote yes were more than those who decided to vote no, although it was just their side in the House, the decision would have still carried. And so this has been really maneuvering of technical parliamentary practice and procedure to suit the various caucuses. And it was my expectation that they, instead of relying on technicality, they would have come back yesterday to the chamber united to take through the process. So that they had Friday, they had Saturday, Sunday, the whole of Monday, and of course, virtually the entire day on Tuesday to have conversations at the session of that particular day Tuesday started late. And well, that is what we saw, and yes, the policy statement for 2022 of the government has actually been approved, although the original was disapproved last Friday. And so the rest of the budget process must continue.
Okay. So, yesterday we had some other views from other people that the minority actually failed the people of Ghana by not, sitting in parliament, by walking out. They failed the people of Ghana. Now, the bottom line is that they feel the minority wanted to shield or not to give up the speaker, that is the Urban Bagwin, because of what happened on Friday. Yesterday, listening to Afenyo Markins, that is what he was trying to, the picture was trying to paint, that Friday's activities in Parliament, or Friday's action, was in quotes an illegality. And the minority sitting in Parliament yesterday would have meant that they are endorsing what happened, because the engagement in the morning, right up to until they came into Parliament, the minority accepted that what happened on Friday was illegal, so they all came together and agreed on what to do. So then the minority decided that we would have to walk out so that whatever happens, happens. Other than that, for us to sit in there would mean that we are endorsing and we are accepting publicly that what happened on Friday was an illegality, and that would mean giving up the speaker, who is also known to be a member of the National Democratic Congress, or the minority side. I don't know if you agree with this position.
Well, I'm not too sure that this has gotten to do entirely with fielding a speaker or not fielding a speaker. I think both sides really had some strategy in their pocket from last Friday right to Monday, to Tuesday yesterday, and they both played their cards. And in the end, they both, have been able to talk some victory based on the cards that they played. As to whether these victories will inure to the benefit of the entire Ghanaian population, and as to whether these victories will not further bring problems or challenges to the work of Parliament going forward, is one that is left to be seen. Because remember that on Friday, to my mind, the majority in Parliament walked out purely because they knew that if the vote was taken, if the division was taken, they were actually going to lose.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have the numbers.
Yeah.
And yesterday's vote and didn't show. So they thought, well, instead of not embarrassing the two, we were going to be possibly 137, and in parliamentary rules, wherever a decision, there's a tie with the decision making, the decision is seen to have been lost. They rather decided, let's walk out so that we do not implicate ourselves. The minority also decided that, well, let's not show up to the show we do not implicate ourselves. These are choices that both parties or both corporations have had to make. And when you make choices in life, it takes the consequences of it.
Interesting. Now, Haruna Idris, the minority leader, yesterday expressed his disappointment with what happened yesterday in Parliament. What actions can the minority take as far as this development is concerned?
Well, I don't advise on minority, but they expressed a few concerns there, and for me, that is where I want to focus on. One of the concerns was the possible action they were going to take going forward, which is that on every matter relating to this budget, and even on matters going forward, they will request for a headcount.
Yeah.
They will request that the numbers are up to the numbers required to take a decision. And you know, if you understand parliamentary practice and procedure very well, that can be a real slowdown.
Yes.
And so, unfortunately, the technical maneuvering of both sides may lead us to that state where the real slowdown situation will have to be executed. And I dare say that the outcome of this will not be too pleasant.
Interesting. Now, yesterday, per the engagement, the deputy majority leader has also hinted that the engagements with the NDC or the minority side yielded some results. One of them is that the reduction or their suggestion to reduce the 1.75 e-levy had actually been accepted, and even though the budget had been approved in Parliament, by the time the enactment or the legislation is done on the levy or that policy is actually legislated, some reduction would be made. My challenge was, once the budget is approved, can we go back and say we are reducing, even though we didn't reduce it in the policy statement in Parliament? That is changing the wording of the policy statement in Parliament. Can it still be done where after approval we go back and say, even though we have approved the budget, we can still do one or two things?
So this is where I think some public education is needed.
Okay.
Now, the budget approval process in Parliament, I would like to break them down into 4 stages.
Okay.
Right? What happened last what happened culminating yesterday is only to be 1 out of a possible 4.
Okay.
Now, when the Minister for Finance presented the statement of economic policy of the government, which we usually call presentation of the budget, in Parliament a few weeks ago, he had only presented the policy.
Okay.
Policy intention of the government for the year 2022. Those policy intentions needed to be debated, which they were, and then a motion moved by him for the adoption of those policy statements needed to be carried, which of course yesterday there was carried.
Okay.
That does not mean that the entire budget or the budget for government for 2022 is finalized.
Okay.
Once we are done with the approval of the policy statement, it's only saying that, okay, Parliament agrees with you on these policy areas, or Parliament disagrees with you on these policy areas. So now let's go into the figures. That moves us to the next stage, which is the estimate stage. So now, every ministry, department, and agency will have its estimate presented to the House. So let's say they will take Ministry of Health. It will show that Ministry of Health is going to be giving 200 million Ghana cedis, out of which they will spend 100 million for salary. They will spend 50 million for capital expenditure. They will spend, 20 million for something else. These estimates will have to go to the committees of Parliament responsible for that sector.
Okay.
So the Health Ministry's estimate will go to the Health Committee and in that order. And this applies to all ministries, departments, and agencies of government. The committees will have to make their recommendations to plenary for these estimates to also be approved. That will be stage 2. When stage 2 is completed, all of the issues in the policy statement, the stage 1, which requires legislation, specific laws to be passed to make them applicable.
Okay.
Those bills to be presented to Parliament. So, for example, the e-levy. A bill on this e-levy will have to be presented to Parliament.
Okay.
For it to become an act approved by Parliament before it can even take effect.
All right.
So stage 3 will be the approval of any bill which will come to play. So, for example, any year that taxes have been revised, a tax amendment bill is actually placed in the House as part of the budget process.
Yeah.
Good. So this approval of possible bills that may have effect on the policy statement and budget will constitute stage 3. When all of these are done, then we'll have what we call the appropriation bill.
Okay.
Which is a bill which, when passed into law, will now give effect to all the things that have been done from stages 1 to 3. If the appropriation bill does not pass, government cannot spend. All of these stages 1 to 4 must happen before the close of the year. So I think what has happened is 1 out of 4 possible stages. And that is why I thought that the majority group in Parliament and the government of the day will not want to risk the remaining 3 stages just to be able to prove a victory on stage 1, because it may come back to bite them.
Interesting. Sammy, thank you very much for this education. I think we needed this, and we are grateful you have given us that. The breakdown is very, very solid. Thank you very much. We will definitely come to you for more on this little acrimony between the minority and the majority in Parliament. Thank you very much, Sammy.
My pleasure.
Okay. That was Sammy Obin. Sammy Obin is the Executive Director for Parliamentary Network for Africa, and so he is well versed in the dealings of Parliament. We are going to take a quick turn, and we will be right back with more on this, because I've actually been joined by Teresa. Teresa speaks for the NDC. Good morning, Teresa. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
I'm also doing very well. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we have more for you. We are going to speak to a lawyer, a legal team member of the NDC, as well as Dr. Tutuwan. I believe Dr. Tutuwan is actually next after the break, and then we have more discussions here for you. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Announcements on Adoatv. Contact Adoatv for your general announcements, proclamations and publications, job vacancies, etc. at a very affordable rate. Call 050-92-57754, 020-9494-258, or visit our marketing desk at Stepwork premises. Adoatv, bringing good things to life.
Welcome aboard the safest airline in Africa. With industry-leading safety measures to protect your well-being. The first in Africa to earn a diamond standard of safety. Offering a more contactless, safe, and seamless experience. delivered with a smile by Africa's first fully vaccinated crew. Creating special memories that bring the joy back to flying so you can continue making memories with your loved ones. Book your flight with Rwandair today. Rwandair, the safest airline in Africa.
Rwandair, fly the dream of Africa.
CB women capsules now. I'm correct. Why your best mankasa?
That's it.
Who anyone? Oh, middle. You capsules back on CB men capsules. Me see CB men capsules na make a year.
Yeah, you see men and women's capsules now. You knew the data. And one year packaging I am the
Wow! What a packaging! CB men, any CB women capsules no packaging is out. And you also no mood any biansan wako do pegi.
Share up him for any about town man kwadano for. Any kwadano go di do you. And come home.
Susanna. Ghana man man tamasi.
Adoatv 0247 111671 and 0246 578 750. FDA aje edwedin kato yato.
Welcome back. It's AM Ghana here on Adoatv, and if you just joined us, we are talking the budget 2022's approval in Parliament yesterday. A lot happened in Parliament. Sami Obin has actually broken a lot of things down for us, and have told us that for the budget to actually come into realization, it goes into about 4 stages. Now, it is only the first stage that is approved, and so we are going to have to go through the other stages of the budget to see how things are going to pan out. But already people are sending in their messages. You can also send yours on our WhatsApp numbers. You can also send your message to our Facebook page, Adoatv Ghana, because we are streaming live on Facebook. Earlier, I indicated that Teresa has joined me, and we are going to commence our discussion. Teresa, good morning once again, and happy new month.
Same to you.
How are you doing?
Well, I'm fine. We thank God for His grace.
Okay, that's fine. Let me read some few messages before we come to start our discussion. It is clear now, but this is coming from Critical Tatali. Hey. Critical Tatali. It is clear now that NDC will never stop rejecting good policies introduced by the NPP-led government of Nanado and Baumia. Kudos to our gallant NPP MPs for the overturning of the NDC's diabolic decision. Regards to Honorable Mavis Hawa Kumsin, Miss Gifty Boama Maji, and extends greetings to Honorable DCU Enim, aka Morino. Thank you very much for sending us your message. This is coming from Pukwase Benghazi. MPP members should know that the Speaker of Parliament in the position of Honorable Kingsford Osman Bagman is greater than all of them. So they should give him some respect and stop shouting. Okay, thank you very much for your message as well. You can keep the messages coming and we are going to read them for you. Now, Teresa, yesterday, of course, the I mean, I was expecting some heat in Parliament. Everybody, I think, was expecting because of what happened on Friday. But it looks as if a lot of people got surprised at how the events turned in Parliament. I don't know why the minority were not in Parliament, but were you surprised as well?
Okay, so good morning to your cherished viewers, your listeners. Surprise for me as an individual, I would say no. Because over the weekend there's been a lot of intel going on. We've heard, and this was in the public domain. It was not just an information for the NDC, but we got to know that there was a lot of there were a lot of efforts and whatever, and the MPP, we know them, whatever they would do to frustrate and then make sure that the budget does not see the light of day, even though it has been rejected. So obviously, yesterday our MPs had their own intel. Obviously, we all have our eyes on and our ears on the ground. And then they got to know that whatever it is, if it means moving heaven to earth, they were going to undo it. Now, the difference between us and them was, on Friday, members of parliament was 274. We all know. And we all know that proceedings were not adjourned. It was suspended. They shamefully decided to run out from their own budget, because obviously Honorable Adoatv
They didn't have the numbers.
They didn't have the numbers. It's so bizarre and it is so funny that they had to look for some excuse about our general secretary being at the gallery. But we all know that it was just a ploy. So for us, the difference between what happened on Friday and then what happened yesterday was so clear. For yesterday, they had total of 137, right? Now, of course, they came back raising concerns and then arguing that the speaker then for yesterday, who happens to be the MP, Joe Wise, exactly, had to add up to be 138. We all know, we've all seen the standing order. Indeed, the Constitution spells it out clearly that once an MP take over, you lose your originality. There's been a lot of debate, there's been a lot of talking around. I've heard comments from lawyers and all that. But I'm saying that me as a layman, as a Ghanaian, if I read the Constitution, if I read the standing orders, it is so clear. So that the question I am asking, not just as an NDC member, but as a Ghanaian, that 137 Friday boycotted, threw the budget off, right?
Then 137
then that
on
same
Monday,
Tuesday decides that, okay, you said no, we are saying yes. It's a bit worrying. And for me, I think as Ghanaians, we need to start looking at these things. Okay, I must admit that yesterday there was a lot of consultations going on, because let's not forget that this is the first time in the 8th, it has never happened in the 4th Republic that we are having a hung parliament. So some people have even raised concerns about the use of minority majority. But let's leave the conversation there.
Yesterday, Dr. Clara Casa was a lawyer was also trying to give some explanations, especially to some of these articles that were used, from Article 10. In fact, after her, I also listened to a lot of people trying to explain the articles. I got the sense that everything comes down to English and how these articles are constructed. And perhaps that is that window of escape for the majority, because the same 104, which also reads that except as otherwise provided in this constitution, matters in parliament shall be determined by the votes of the majority members present and voting. Yesterday, I heard Samuel Abujinapo explaining the part that says that the majority of members present and voting. Dr. Clara also, there's some explanation. So I got the sense that maybe that is the interpretation is what brought up some of these things.
We have taken our stand. You see, my worry in all this is the people of Ghana. It's just unfortunate that in the 8th Parliament of the 4th Republic, we are seeing a lot of these disparities. For me, I think it's not healthy for our parliamentary proceedings. And then clearly we've seen a lot of, if you like, a lot of disrespect and all that, a lot of comments from the MPP side towards the speaker, the original, I mean the main speaker, Albin Gbami. It's a bit worrying, and I as a Ghanaian, I'm asking myself, what is happening? If there was a lot of engagements, and then I mean, we are told that yesterday from morning, and this is in the public domain, both NDC and MPP have put it out there that there has been a lot of engagement. Yes. There were a lot of engagements. Our stand on the e-levy was that, listen, Ghanaians are suffering. And for me, I have a challenge with the current government. It's as if, let's not forget that for every president, for every MP, for every government worker, any leader, whoever you are in government, we have families, we have friends. It is so clear that in Ghana, things aren't going well. It is clear. You don't need a soothsayer to tell you. You don't need to fish it out. And yet too difficult. Things aren't the same. People are suffering. It is even so difficult to have 3 square meals a day as we speak. Things are not happening for people. So our stand was e-levy. Why are we going to burden the already burdened Ghanaian? Why would we add that?
Okay. Kindly hold on for me there. I'll come back to you. Dr. Tutu Boyne, a political analyst, has also joined us, and we will take his comments on what happened yesterday in Parliament. Good morning, Doc. How are you doing, please?
Good morning, my brother. I'm good. How about you?
Oh, Doc, we are very, very good, and we are very grateful for your time, as you always make time to speak to us. Doc, yesterday the majority decision got the budget that was originally rejected last week, that was on Friday, approved in Parliament. Were you surprised by the development because of the fact, because of what happened on Friday? Were you surprised what happened yesterday?
All right, so good morning to you. Good morning to the panel members here today. And good morning to you and also to the audience. With surprises, it's quite relative. And I wouldn't say, personally, I was surprised. Because the signs were on the walls. Politics is a game. And so when you read the game theory, and you understand the game theory very well, anytime that a political process starts, you are in the position to read and probably know what will finally happen. So I wouldn't say I was that surprised. My position and understanding of politics in Ghana and across the world, it's just like a drama, you know. And so it is rehearsed and presented to the people, you know, at the advance site. So when you look at what happened on Friday, and you look at what happened yesterday, you probably want to ask yourself 2 simple questions. Why did the majority walk away on Friday? And why did the minority also abstain, you know, yesterday? So if you and I could have answers to this, issues of surprises may not be there.
Okay.
You know, So I wouldn't say I was surprised. Yeah.
Interesting. The budget had some points, some key areas that raised a lot of discussions after it was presented in Parliament, and that was what a lot of Ghanaians actually were happy about, with the fact that it was rejected on Friday, thinking that some form of review would happen to some of these key areas, the government service charges, the e-levy, amongst others. Now, the budget has been approved. What does it mean for Ghanaians? Are we supposed to buckle up, as we have been told some few days ago, to buckle up and then expect tough times?
Yeah, as it is, the budget in itself has some good points, some good intentions of government. But I also think that, the central concern has to do with, the 1.75 e-levy.
E-levy.
Yeah, which most people are interpreting it to be some additional, hardship, on the life of the Ghanaian people. You see, when you look at the Ghana Statistical Service data, you realize that very few people of Ghanaians are in the formal sector. And these are people who, government is able to task.
Yeah.
From, how do you call it, source. So if you are a public servant and you are paid through government, before you receive your salary, government has taken its share. I think about 10% or so. And so already your salary is down, which is understandable. And then you start with your expenditures. Then the indirect form of taxes also begin to hit your face. And so with this 1.75, people are giving various interpretations, and probably I don't want to repeat it. So every transaction that you engage in, 1.75 of the total amount is taken. And so if you do rough calculation, you will see that at the end of the day, you are spending between 60 to 70%, of the money that comes into your account. Also on, how do you call it, indirect taxes. And the question is, how do you survive as a Ghanaian? How are you able to take care of your family if you have a family? How are you able to develop, get yourself some accommodation, decent living, and that kind of stuff? So if you are not careful with the rate at which we are taxing the people, some ramification relating to corruption, for example, we can't fight it. Others would also emerge that we can also not do anything about it. So I think that in the first place, just as the minister said yesterday, he said that they are in talks with the telcos and other stakeholders, to see whether they are going to review the 1.75. I think that it will be in good order.
Okay.
Some other DSOs have also added their voice to the fact that 1% will be good. I think that whether it is 1% or below, the review is very important, because we didn't want to throw away, the relevance of taxation, to the development of this country is very important. And you could see that Western and developed countries have survived on internal taxes. So it is good. I personally believe that, putting our destiny in the hands of the white man and donor agencies is not good for the independence of this country.
Okay.
So if we want to have total independence and develop in our own way, these are some of the things that we can do. But my suggestion with regards to expanding the tax net, beyond the 30% of Ghanaians contributing meaningfully to, government tax, I think that when you look critically or you examine critically at the budget and the current government manifesto, entrepreneurship is a key focus. TV is a key focus. Youth employment is a key focus. And I think that these are areas that government must concentrate in. Not just this government, not just this NPP government, but any other government that will have the opportunity to rule this government, this country in future, should concentrate, in these key 3 areas and make sure that we develop these sectors or these areas and make sure that we create jobs for a large number of Ghanaians. Even family businesses across the world is helping subsidize government revenue. Why can't we pay attention to some of these things? But just always looking at, the very few people who are, working. Yesterday, I listened to, another group. I think it has to do with the Garages Association or something. And, some of the things that they were talking about with regards to, the taxes they are paying and that kind of thing. Obviously, they are telling their members that don't resist, don't go on demonstration. But you just take what government is telling you. Go and pay. But when you finish paying, pass it on to the consumer.
To the consumer. Okay.
For the consumer to pay. So you see what is happening now. All
Interesting.
Right? Now, if we are getting to this level, then probably it is suggesting that in future, people cannot even go to the market to go and marry.
Interesting.
So what do you expect would happen in this country?
Yeah, and understood. Yes, please.
We are already battling with majority of the youth in betting.
Yeah.
Majority of the youth, going into Sakawa, ritual killing, armed robbery, and the likes. Some of these things, we can have the root from there. And so I think that when government is able to develop deliberate policy targeting youth employment, and giving jobs to the people, at least a large number of Ghanaians or a large population of Ghanaians would have
will be captured into the tax net. Yeah.
And they will be captured in the tax net. We have solved the problem of unemployment, and we are also solving the problem of this small taxes.
Expanding the tax net. Yeah.
Yes. I think that the ripple effect of this budget is something that we need.
Okay.
And you see, my problem is whether when this budget is passed, okay, it has been passed already, but when it is fully implemented, whether government will see the need, to deliver on its promises.
Okay.
That is where the problem is.
All right. Okay, Doc. Thank you very much for that. But let me quickly come back to Parliament. I want to find I want to get your views on this. Now, yesterday, the first deputy speaker indicated that the rejection of the budget on Friday by the 137 minority members was unconstitutional, and he said that the speaker erred in giving the ruling on that. Then yesterday, after what happened in Parliament, the minority leader Haruna Idrisu at their press conference yesterday also said that the action is also null and void since the majority does not also have the required number to approve the budget. Where are we heading towards now? Now, majority says Speaker has erred and the action was illegal on Friday. Yesterday, the minority is also saying almost the same thing. I mean, where do we stand now? Would we even have to go to court to find out what exactly the law says about what happened Friday and yesterday?
Yeah, so they make the laws. The parliamentarians make the laws. They know the reason why such laws are, promulgated. And equally, they have the interpretations to it. But in most cases, it is the law court, that gives full interpretations to it. So somebody going in there to seek clarification, on the laws that they are quoting, the person would be justified to do that.
Okay.
And I think that it is one of the things that we also, situate our democracy.
Okay.
Within the ranks of the developed democracies.
Okay.
But I also want to say that I've indicated earlier, politics is explained by games. They play games. All right. So that is why I asked these questions initially. So the blame game, has come and it is part of gaming. All right. So the majority is pointing accusing fingers, and then the minority is also pointing accusing fingers. And the whole thing is how you can give, some level of confidence, and sustain the confidence level of your support team. All right.
Okay.
So that is exactly what we are doing. Because I don't expect that the MPP, after the rejection, will sit down without talking.
Yeah.
In fact, they will speak. And they will just calm down their members and give them assurance.
Okay.
And do everything possible, to ensure that the budget that is presented, the budget that has been presented does not fail.
Okay.
You understand?
Yes, please.
That
Okay.
is a pure, masculine, nature of politics. And then again, you look at the NDC, and then they wouldn't also sit down. At least the leadership of NDC in Parliament.
They will also fight back.
Wouldn't also sit down.
Yeah.
They will also fight back. So you understand?
Yeah.
So that game would be played.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, when such games are being played, those of us who don't really understand it will be the most confused people.
Exactly.
Okay. So
exactly.
At the end of the day, you either convince them or you confuse them. You understand that?
Okay,
yes.
look,
So
thank
that's what
you.
that politics is about.
All right. Okay. Okay.
And so moving forward, 2024 is there. None of these political parties would want to lose their support base. And they may also want to appeal, to swing voters and even new voters. So it depends on the argument that you put on a particular law and a particular action.
Okay.
That will determine the level of confidence that is reposed in you and determines who and who will vote for you.
All right. Okay. Okay.
So these are things that they will do as part of their marketing and communication issues.
Okay. All right.
To sustain the loyalty of their views.
All right, Doc. Thank you very much for this. I mean, you have really broken a lot of things down for us and then explained the other things as well. Thank you very much for your time. You will definitely come back for more from you, Doc. Thank you.
Okay.
Dr. Tutuwai is a political analyst and, of course, a lecturer as well at the Winneba University of Education, Winneba. Thanks to him for that. Sorry, I had to make you hold on, and we're just trying to wrap our head around what is actually happening. But let's go back to Parliament again. Now, I read one message yesterday that said that the minority should have stayed in Parliament. By walking out, especially after the engagement, meant that the minority was to a certain extent in bed with the majority. They just knew what they wanted to do so that the budget would be passed.
You mean for what happened
Yesterday? Yes.
Okay.
Because if the minority had stayed in parliament, they would definitely have. I mean, they had 137 members in parliament, and that would simply mean that per the rules of voting in parliament, 137 and 137 would have meant that the budget, will still not be passed. But the fact that they were not in there yesterday also contributed to what happened yesterday.
Okay. So our leaders, Honorable Haruna, the leaders of the minority have raised the reasons why they decided not to partake. Now, like I was saying, there's been a lot of intel picked that these people were bent on doing whatever they want to do. And then, obviously, yesterday we were saved. Everybody see clearly the speaker for yesterday, Honorable Joe Wise, obviously, that he was not ready to listen to our bit. Now, our leaders have even raised, and they had, to them, that it's likely that since they have made up their mind, if submissions are going to come from our side, he's going to turn a blind eye. In fact, he's going to pretend. So as I sit here, if I'm MP and I raise, he will pretend he's not sick.
At the end of the day, it will still come down to one thing. And I liked what the speaker did last Friday. He said he was not going to do any, how do you call it? Normally he would do a yes and no thing, but this time he's going to count just so that he's very much sure of what is happening in Parliament. It will still come down to voting, so that if you can decide not to call me if I raise my hand. You can decide not to, take my concerns if I raise my hand. But at the end of the day, we would still vote. And then once it is 137, I will only keep quiet for you to do whatever you want to do. It comes to voting, I won't vote, or I would vote a no, and then the budget will still not be passed.
Like I'm saying, I understand the views of the people.
Yeah.
In fact, I appreciate your view as well, because one aspect, one is thinking that probably if they have stayed, at the end of the day, this budget would not have gone through anyway. But I want to believe that in their own wisdom, and then these are leaders who have been in parliament for years.
Yeah.
They understand the situation. What they wanted to avoid was to let Ghanaians see that, listen, this e-levy, we are not part of it. We understand the plight of Ghanaians. We know things aren't going well. The last thing we want is to add salt to injury. You get it? So the point, like I'm saying, the difference between us and them on Friday, there was parliamentary proceedings, things were going on. They decided to walk out. For our people, they decided that, listen, these people, from the way things are going, let Ghanaians know that we are for them and we understand how they feel. I appreciate what someone else would say, that probably if they had stayed and all that, it might have ended up in 137, it might still not have gone through. But I want to believe that in their own wisdom, there is no way 137 of the minority parliamentarians, representing their people, will not jaw and then see that this is the way to go. This is the best thing we will do. Before we went on the break, I was raising the fact that there were a lot of engagement and all that. And we all know that Parliament is all about engagement.
Yes.
Personally, as a Ghanaian, and for this bit, as a Ghanaian, for me, what is happening, for me, it is not too good. A lot of concessions were raised. Now the minority was like, if we've raised these concerns, why don't you inculcate it in?
No, it is. It looks like the minority's concerns. I do not know whether, I can't say all of them.
All of them.
But it looks as if some of the concerns raised by the minority. Yesterday I was listening to Afenya Markins, and he made mention of the fact that yes, it was good, the engagement with the minority. He actually accepted what the minority also brought on board as far as it was concerned, that a lot of the things that they brought in had to be considered. So the reason why they worked out, how do you call it, on Friday, was because the minister had actually taken notice of what the minority had had suggested, and wanted more time, some extended time, so that he could go back, revisit the policy document, and come back to Parliament. Unfortunately, they didn't get that time, and so that is why they walked off on Friday. On Friday. And so this time around, they are considered all the suggestions that the minority, especially the e-levy, they had considered that. I think he mentioned something about the government service charges and some other few things in there that they had considered. So
now, so if you have considered it, our point is, if it's under consideration and then indeed the engagements were fruitful, why won't you inculcate it? Why are you asking me that you're going to pass the budget, which in this case, what you brought on Friday?
The explanation I got yesterday was that before, and I listening to Sammy Obin, I think Sammy Obin also confirmed the same thing, that their point, the majority's point, is that it doesn't matter.
It does matter.
Even though the document is in Parliament, let us go ahead and pass it. The reviews have been accepted. A lot of them would have to go through legislation, bills submitted to Parliament. That is where these reviews would be effected. So, for instance, the e-levy, before would be accepted, would have to go through, Parliament as a bill, and that is where they can, do those changes before it is passed. That is their explanation.
Yeah. Well, yesterday I also listened to Honorable Afenyo making those points. But you see, the minority is saying that before we sit and we judge all, before we agree to anything, we want to see. Yesterday he used the term, I'm trying to get, there is a term for making sure that they put whatever. There was a word they used. Forgive me, but
no worries.
But the point is, we want to see that for whatever concerns that we've raised, you can add it. How long does it take? Is it a statement? There is something, I'm sure it will come, where because yesterday I listened to your sister station just to get the understanding of what is happening, that the leaders and then the majority leaders and the speaker can just put something in writing, just to inculcate it in the policy statement. Then when you go back and you are doing these reviews and all that, we know that there was a concession and it was agreed on paper. If you are not ready to talk towards that line, then it means that subject to the reviews that they had, engagement that they had, my brother, we were not there. Were we?
No.
It would show that indeed there has been an engagement when it is on paper. If my MPs come and say that, oh, we engage them and then we Ghanaians and we try to, how would I know? How would I believe what you are saying?
If I understand you, if I understand you, I'm thinking about it this way, that perhaps the minority also thought that if you won't put it in writing, you won't effect the changes in the policy document, and you want to tell us that during the enactment, before the laws are enacted, you change it. What if it gets there and you don't change it?
And you don't do anything about it? What happens? What are we going to tell Ghanaians?
I think that's the question
What are we going to tell Ghanaians?
That's a question Muntaka should have asked Afenyo yesterday when I was listening to them.
What are we going to tell Ghanaians? That 137 of the minority MPs sat down for the government of the day to pass a levy of 1.75. I understand that it was reviewed.
Yes.
They came back to 1.05.
In fact, the 1.5 initially, it was further reviewed, and then the threshold, the NDC suggested 500 Ghana cedis for the threshold, that is the non-taxable Momo transactions, 500. The NPP wasn't really comfortable with it. It came down to 300. That is not confirmed yet, but these are all part of the engagements that happened.
But I'm saying that all these engagements were done behind closed doors.
Yes,
myself and you were not there.
Yeah.
And to the Ghanaian public if the Minister of Finance, everything goes out and then he goes, and then this budget is passed without all these concessions? What happens? I'm saying that even as a minority, even as opposition party, we are of the view that, listen, Ghanaians are suffering now. Ken Oforiatta Mr. Ken Oforiatta has raised concerns about the money that is going to be used for employment. He's raised a lot of, but my dear, this is a government that from revenue and taxes have gotten no less than 500 billion. What have they done with that money? What is there to show? I hope you are getting me. Now, they've even called whatever it is, that Gets Fund and ESLA, the ESLA that they said was a nuisance tax that was even supposed to end 2 years ago, that they have extended for another 10 years. What is happening? What have they done with that money?
So in a nutshell, you the minority do not trust.
No, we don't.
When the majority leader says that the 1.75 would be reduced when the bill is brought to Parliament, before Parliament.
And for me, even if it's reduced, I'm saying that this is a government that has a total of over 500 billion in revenues and taxes. What have they done?
Nothing with it.
What have they done with it? This is a government that has had the dadaba of the Fourth Republic, if I must use that word. They've had everything. When we were leaving, we left them to oil fates, my brother. But the point is, what are they doing? I have come to a point that, see, Ghanaians are tired of the talking, okay? A government that says that we're going to move away from taxation to production. And for us, NDC, we never said that taxation was wrong. It was them that said that
but they also didn't say that. But that doesn't.
From taxation to, if they didn't say that, why were they calling?
No, I mean that would not mean they won't collect taxes.
But what taxes so far this year? I wish I can get
all I'm trying to say is that I don't know how people go, but if any government says you are moving from taxation to production, that won't mean they won't take taxes at all.
That's fine. But I'm saying that what measures are on the ground? When you tell me you are moving away from taxes to production, I expect that as a government, when you come, we should see that indeed you are
moving.
You are moving. What are they doing with all these monies? You get it. We've seen the benchmark reviews and all that. Listen, times are hard in Ghana. Now, for the list of the benchmark I have seen, I've even seen water. Well, sorry, I've seen rice. I've seen sugar. For these reducing the benchmark, do we produce sugar? Do we?
You start soon.
We will? Have we started?
No.
Now, this is a government that we left the Commander Sugar Factory to.
Hopefully, they will.
What is that? Hopefully, this is their second term.
That's the best I can say.
I understand. This is their second term. Then they will come back with the jargons and all that. That we built the factory. There was no sugar cane. Granted, we built the factory. There was no sugar cane to produce. You've been in power for over 5 years. How long does it take?
I actually read the World Bank.
Cane.
I read the World Bank report on the Commander Sugar Factory, and I mean the impression I got from the report was that both governments under budgeted for that particular factory, but granted the NDC started the factory.
Okay.
Even though they worked with a low budget on that particular factory. Okay. We have not seen much of the MPP do, and even what the MPP wants to also do with it, that is granted they will do it, is also under budgeting. So I'm not surprised we are having a lot of challenges with the Commander Sugar Factory.
No, but you see, and I believe that, and for me, there are days I'm a politician, there are days a Ghanaian before a politician. It is time that the Ghanaian people will hold politicians accountable. Okay, so now obviously that factory was built under His Excellency
Yeah,
John Dramani
yeah,
Mahama,
yeah.
but not from his pocket, was
Of
it?
course.
It wasn't. It is for our taxpayer. We will pay. The loan Ghanaians will pay. I am sure that my grandchildren will even end up paying some of these money. Must these factories and all that stand and waste just because another government comes in and wants to run? It becomes a problem. For me, I'm saying that the Ghanaian people are suffering. The e-levy, they are even remittances. They want to. Oh, my darling.
What do you think the minority should do now? Fine, the minority made suggestions. From the majority, they are trying to say that they have taken those suggestions in good stride, and even though it has not reflected in the policy statement, when the bill is brought, when those bills are brought before Parliament, majority says something. I mean, the changes would be seen there, or those, would be affected there. What should be the stance of the minority? What do you think should be done? That they still stay on their grounds and say that if now we have not seen the statement, you have passed it. If you bring it to, or if you bring it before Parliament, we would not agree until we have seen a statement. Yesterday, Muntaka mentioned that what happened is just going to be the beginning of a lot of more things to come. That every single decision in Parliament will have to be subjected to voting. Yeah. Do you agree with him, or what do you think the minority should be doing?
No, but I think I agree with Honorable Muntaka. I think that this is a government that are still dreaming, that they are thinking that in the 7th Republic, they had the numbers. They are forgetting that this is the hung parliament. Okay. Now, I know that our people will not intentionally, and that's the word, will not intentionally frustrate the business of the government of the day. Okay. Now, our MPs are there for their own people. At the end of the day, what will benefit Ghanaians is what will be done. And yesterday, and he stated categorically that they have set the precedence that for every item, for whatever issue, they will vote for it.
Yeah.
I want to encourage our people. Listen, Ghanaians are descending now. Now, even if you speak to supporters of MPP that we all know, we have friends, we have family who before were die-hard supporters of the MPP. Some will not sway off, but clearly you can tell that they are really not happy about the things that is happening. At the end of the day, I'm saying that Ghana first, Ghanaians first. Whatever that we'll do in opposition to ensure that the people of Ghana lives okay, at least we are fine. At least at the end of the day, you're able to go and get something doing. Now, as we speak now, we are the only country that still keeps our borders closed. We are confused about it. Ghanaians are confused. Let's not forget that closure of these borders, obviously you are affecting the daily bread of someone else.
Now, so one member of the NDC that expressed his concerns to me yesterday said something very, very profound. He said that as for the budget statement, it is passed. As the minority side were absent yesterday, in the end, this is what he thinks as an NDC person will happen. In the end, the minority would win. Yes, the minority will win the moral war in that we stood for what is not good for Ghanaians. The majority still decided to go ahead. We spoke against it. E-levy, government service charges, taxes, petroleum tax, blah, 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 blah. We spoke against it. It didn't happen. So the moral war will be won by, how do you call it, the minority. But then the NPP may get the taxes at the end of the day, like you rightly mentioned, that they have gotten plenty taxes. And they will still get taxes. Granted that this 1.75% e-levy was not reviewed or was not scrapped. MPP is going to get the taxes, perhaps, in his thinking, perhaps develop the nation, in 2024, everybody forgets what happened in Parliament, that there was a rejection and there was an approval within a space of 3 days or 4 days, and then MPP retains power. That is a concern raised by somebody who belongs to the minority, that with this NDC win, minority win the moral war, but the majority gets the taxes to develop the nation. You know how we forget things easily in the country, and then it is gone away.
For me, my brother, I don't think that now Ghanaians really forget things easily. Gone were those days. Honestly, trust me, people don't forget easily like that. Like you said, he's saying the moral war. As a politician, on top of my, I'm thinking, okay, Ghanaians will know who the MPPs are.
Exactly,
MPPs.
that's what he means by
Ghanaians will know as a politician. Then, at the bigger picture, I'm asking myself, who suffers? What happens to the ordinary Ghanaian? What happens to the young man walking on the street of Accra, not working, hunting for job? And clearly, we all saw it, I think 2 or 3 months ago, when the security services opened up, both the fire service opened it, Ghana Armed Forces, we saw it clearly, the way people will line up from Airwalk down there. It tells you how Ghanaians are suffering, especially the Ghanaian youth. Okay. So if you ask me, let's not forget that. And then I will say this. When we were in power, obviously, we won't say that we gave every youth a job. To do. For me, I don't believe in that. But I'm saying that when they took over for 5 years, what is happening? They brought the NAPCO, okay? The NAPCO that they even promised them because of the 2020 election that they were going to absorb them. What happened? So now they've laid them off.
They have called them back.
Called them back.
Are you not scared that? Are you not worried that the NPP may, at the end of the day, get a lot of revenue, develop the nation, and then 2024?
I just said that as we speak now, revenue and taxes is over 5 billion. Sorry, 500 billion since
maybe they'll get more.
So if they are I'm saying that even the 500 billion, they should show us what they have done with that money. That they want more. It is all about their expenditure. See, this is a government that believes in consumption. Huge, extravagant lifestyle. Okay, so just last week we saw, and then I'm not surprised that even now within themselves, things that are supposed to be secret ends up in the public domain, that a whooping $73,000 for presidential hotel travels, 4.4 billion for 4 days. This is the man that told Ghanaians that I am going to protect the public purse. I am just saying it word by word. He said it. That listen, I am going to be the man to protect the public purse. What is happening? All these monies, my darling, they are just using it, wasting it. Their extravagant lifestyle. Now, if a president can decide to sleep in a hotel suite, $8,000 a night, my darling. See, some of these things, when you say it, for me being a politician, you think that it's all about propaganda. I'm doing politics, but I'm saying that is it the reflection of the Ghanaian people? Now, the closure of the toll booths, that we have some people working there, and then there was a plan to put our brothers and sisters who are physically challenged to man the toll booth, just to ensure that at the end of the day, something small also comes. Now, in so doing, what happens? We reduce the number of people on the street begging, obviously. It does not solve it entirely, but at least we've done something. Now, the Minister of Works and Housing, out of whatever it is, unlawfully decided to close those toll booths.
Transportation Minister.
The Transportation Minister. Unlawfully. it's closed. Now, they gave reasons, obviously, that the traffic. My brother, go to Kaswa. It's been over a week. What is happening? There is traffic. My main concern is about the people that was laid off.
Okay.
What's happening? Yesterday, I saw them in the news.
Yeah.
In fact, I saw a woman crying, weeping, and I couldn't hold myself.
They went to Parliament.
Yes. and they were weeping. Why do we do this to our people? Okay. What is happening? Yet we have a president and we have a government that would decide that, listen, I don't care how you feel. It's just like a mother telling a son that today there is no money.
Thank you.
Then we'll go and buy fried rice and come and sit in front of you
and eat
whilst you are hungry.
Amisko Spelele is saying we are most grateful to Parliament for correcting the unlawful act made by the minority. Indeed, approving the Ajinkwan budget is the best way to promote Ghana's economic growth. Mama G, I don't think minority in Parliament want Ghanaians to suffer for nothing. Anything good from the government is a taboo to them. What else can they do to help fix the country they are preaching about? The country they are preaching about, Ghanaians are watching. Mama G, thank you. Abdul Basit, I was happy to witness the juicy budget. It looks as if people are happy with the budget. I was happy to witness the juicy budget approved by the able MPs of the Republic, and our youth's future is bright. Okay. Okay, I saw another message from a gentleman. Let me see if I can get that one, and then we can wrap up our time. Let me see. It says, for the record, the 2022 budget and economic policy statement has been rejected, and no attempt of maneuvering would save them. Sadly, some lawyers are finding it difficult to justify the machoism that transpired yesterday. It is not curious that even most of the government's allies are against the killer taxes and other unpopular decisions contained in the budget. Let me take this opportunity to salute my gallant comrades in Parliament for standing beside vulnerable Ghanaians in this grievous moment. My regards to Dr. Nanama Brown Luche. This is coming from Dr. Down below, of course. Everybody, we all can be on the same side. But any few words before we wrap up? We just have about 1 minute.
Really? Okay, so for me, I would say that Ghanaians, for more indications, the NPP are not ready to do anything for Ghanaians. For more indications. I mean, as Ghanaians, I'm praying that the Lord himself would hold us till 2024.
Okay.
2024 NDC, obviously, we come in. We will not say that in our past governance we were angels. Obviously, we are human beings. We've made mistakes. A lot of reflections have gone on.
Okay.
We've seen them taking over. Probably God wanted them to take over for us to get a clue.
Okay.
So Ghanaians should just hold on.
Thank
it
you.
Will be well.
Thank you, Teresa. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you for staying with us as well. My name is Samuel Kusiapia. We have more for you on the show, so don't go anywhere. Juliana Ijoma is next here. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Malaria nti abayiwa yejuma bono malaria defo yao nti awo ahire ne customers ni wahu ne se maami aye smart apa CB Malakio amma ne baya odi ko school she se aduane si berry market tie ni malaria nti a onti ni onia and na ho ema we no biara to wo So we have malaria test. Maybe one. And Trapetiwa and the CB Malagio. Yedinuna, Nehama, and Nakikabum Asoneso, I CB Malagio. And no way so dear. And I don't grow. And yet that shit.
A drawing near my appeal for about a woman for any quada won't in fear.
Susiana, what would you win?
FD Ashosha sa a jedi and cratoimu adia to Musa and
Welcome aboard the safest airline in Africa. With industry-leading safety measures to protect your well-being. The first in Africa to earn a diamond standard of safety. Offering a more contactless, safe, and seamless experience. Delivered with a smile by Africa's first fully vaccinated crew. Creating special memories that bring the joy back to flying, so you can continue making memories with your loved ones. Book your flight with RwandAir today. RwandAir, the safest airline in Africa.
RwandAir, fly the dream of Africa.
Announcements on Adoatv. Contact Adoatv for your general announcements, proclamations and publications, job vacancies, etc. at a very affordable rate. Call 050-92-57754, 020-9494-258, or visit our marketing desk at Step Work Premises. Adoatv, bringing good things to life.
Welcome aboard the safest airline in Africa. With industry-leading safety measures to protect your well-being. The first in Africa to earn a diamond standard of safety. Offering a more contactless, safe, and seamless experience. Delivered with a smile by Africa's first fully vaccinated crew. Creating special memories that bring the joy back to flying, so you can continue making memories with your loved ones. Book your flight with RwandAir today. RwandAir, the safest airline in Africa.
RwandAir, fly the dream of Africa.
CB women capsules now. I'm correct. Why your best mankasa?
That's it.
Who anyone? Oh, middle. You capsules back on CB men capsules. Me see CB men capsules na make a year.
Yeah, you see men and women's capsules now. You name the data. And one year packaging I the pepper.
Wow! What a packaging! CB men, any CB women capsules no packaging is on. And you also no mood any bianza na wakodo ben pegi.
Share a painful any about town man kwada no for. Any kwada won di fie do ye. Enka ho.
Susanna. Ghana man be man tamase.
Dodo Afre 0247 111671 and 0246 578 750. FDA aji ejede nkato yatu.
for staying tuned. I hope you did enjoy, not just enjoying yourself, but you did dot your I's and cross your T's when it came to the political issues, especially to do with Parliament and issues surrounding our budget, 2022 budget. But now we want to move away from Parliament and we want to talk about you. Yes, I'm talking about you out there, the likes of Pep. Yes, you are included. Henry is included there, Mary, and all the lovely young ladies and gentlemen of Adoatv, especially with this, my team, the AM Ghana team, who are not married. There's only one married person I know. And we want to discuss you, what you have to do before you get married. I'm talking about compatibility test. So we do hear our counselors day in, day out talk about compatibility. Today, we want to look at what really it entails, what you need to do before you get married. What are the tests that you need to do? Yes, some of them have been heightened and some of them have not been talked about at all. And of course, I can't do this on my, if I do anything, it will be research that I'm pouring out. But I want you to hear from somebody who is well equipped, yes, to feed you with this information. She is a doctor from the University of Ghana Medical Center, and she is a lovely woman. You will see her in just a second, but her name is Dr. Esther. Dr. Esther Agor. I also saw the Nine, right?
Yeah.
I like that, Nine. I've not heard of it. What I usually see is Nene. I've not seen a Nine.
Nine,
Oh, Nine.
Yes.
I like that, Dr. Nine. You are welcome to AM Ghana.
Thank you very much. I'm
Now,
glad to be here.
No, I'm hope. Yes, I like that you are glad, because I want to be able to call you here so many times to talk about many of these issues pertaining to our health, where we can do something, especially in terms of prevention rather than cure.
Exactly.
But where has already been committed, of course, to see the way forward. But I'm happy you're here this morning, especially on the very first day of the last month of the year 2021. I know you are glad to be happy.
Yeah.
Sorry, to be alive.
Yes,
You are happy to be alive. And all viewers watching you, what do you have for them this morning, especially for the new year, before we delve into the topic?
All right. So I want to say thank you again for giving me the opportunity to share with your viewers. Let me just talk about COVID a bit, because that is what is still around. Yes. So during the season, please do protect yourself, and I'll talk more about it during the interview. Okay. Yes. But do well to protect yourself, because it's very important. The most important thing is that you have life. In as much as we'll go out and chill, you should try and do it in moderation. But in all, we are grateful to God for the life.
Yeah. We're grateful to God for their life. And sometimes to show how grateful you are is how you protect the life that you have been giving. And here we want to talk about compatibility test. And for me, immediately I heard the compatibility test, I was thinking of sickle cell, because that's what we always do. Sickle cell is what is loud there, because I don't know if it's because the repercussions of it is much more damaging to us, but there are, I got to know that there are further tests that we could make, at least 4 of them, or if not 5, rounding them up. So the first one we really want to tackle right now, right here, is to do with the blood test. So if you're okay with it, please help us. Blood test. When we talk about compatibility test, and blood test is the first, what should we do and what does it entail, the blood test?
Okay, so first of all, what every individual should know, I mean, at every given point, everybody should know their blood group.
Okay.
So you should know your blood group. If you go anywhere and they ask you your blood group, you should be able to tell us that I'm group O, I'm group B, group A, or group AB. So there are 4 types, blood group types.
Okay.
And these are based on antibodies and antigens that we inherit from our parents. So as I already said, there's blood group O, there's blood group A, there's blood group B, and then there's blood group AB. Before you get married as a couple, you have to know your blood groups, because there's something we call ABO incompatibility, and this happens to the fetus. So let's say it's not very common. It's not very common, but it's also very important. Where the mother's blood group, say the mother is O and then the baby is say A or B, then the mother can produce antibodies that will fight against the baby's blood.
In the womb.
In the womb, exactly. And then when the baby is born, the blood cells break down and then you have some jaundice. But it's usually very mild and not that severe. The other thing we have to talk about is the rhesus factor. So the rhesus factor are proteins and glycoproteins on the red blood cell. Okay, and it's very important, either positive or negative. It's not a disease. It's not, the way you have fair people, you have dark people, you can come and then be negative or positive. That's the rhesus factor. Now, this is very important, especially in pregnancy, because if the mother is rhesus negative, and then say the husband is rhesus positive, and the baby takes the rhesus positive from the father, because the baby is in the mother's womb, and the mother doesn't have that rhesus factor in her, whenever there's a mixture of the mother's blood and the baby's blood, the mother produces soldiers, antibodies, that will attack the blood of the baby. And the rhesus is on the blood cell, so it goes and then directly attacks the baby's blood. That's what we should know about. So as a woman, if you're rhesus negative, you have to know. Yeah, usually during pregnancy at antenatal clinics, we do the blood test for them. So then you would know whether you are positive or negative. So you can be A positive, B positive, O positive, or A negative, B negative, O negative, AB positive, AB negative. So with each of the blood types, you can either be positive, rhesus positive, or rhesus negative. So as a woman, you should know. You should know whether you are negative, especially, and if your husband is positive, then we can put in certain preventive measures. And as I said, the mother will produce antibody soldiers against the baby's blood if the mother is negative and the baby is positive, and then there is a mixture. Usually it's very mild for the firstborns because it takes a while for the mother to produce the antibodies to start attacking the child. For the second and subsequent babies, it will be severe because now the mother has full-blown antibodies against the rhesus. Exactly. So once the new baby comes in, then it's like they're ready to fight. The soldiers, you've already primed your soldiers, and then they are ready to fight. So it's very important that everybody knows their blood group and then their rhesus factor. And so that just in case of emergency, if we need blood, and we can just ask you, we will do the test. All right, but then we can also ask you, and then you should be able to tell us that I'm blood group this, and then this is my rhesus status. Yeah. So that's about the blood group.
So I believe that before we go on, I just want to announce to you that our WhatsApp line is there, and you can also send any question, anything that is bothering you, or any question that might crop up while we discuss this, to our Facebook, Adoatv GH, Adoatv Ghana live. It's a live transmission. Send it there. We'll read it. I'll post your questions to her, and then we'll see how to help you on whatever it is. My question would be, you were talking about the mother's blood, kind of developing antibodies to fight against. What would be the consequence?
Exactly. So when the baby comes, because it's on the red blood cells, it will break the red blood cells down, and then the baby will become jaundiced. So the eyes become yellow because of the hemoglobin that is broken down. It pigments the sclera, and then it gives us the yellow coloration of the child. And sometimes when it's very severe, it can cause stillbirth. So it can actually kill the baby in the womb.
That's exactly
yes, that's also very severe, and we don't want that. So once we know you are rhesus negative as a mother, there are certain measures that we can put in place. So we can give you, we have an injection we call the antirogam, anti-D injection. So we give that to you so you don't you don't attack your babies. Exactly.
So right now what we are advocating for is that you do these compatibility tests. even before you get married, so that you know your status, right? So that if you are able to know the status, because when we talk about compatibility tests, what scares people is that if immediately you ask me to go and take a test, then it means that whoever I'm going to make the test with, what if we find out that we are not right for each other? Yes. So here I'm going to find out that resource factor negative and he's positive. So is that supposed to mean that we step away? Like the sickle cell, usually, you know, the information we get from there, what it means to us. So that's where people usually don't want to hear about compatibility tests. So saying this, that means that something can be done. It doesn't mean that you should completely. Okay.
So for the razors, you don't have to stop your marriage because you are razors negative.
Okay.
We don't look at that because we can work on it. We can, we have things to do towards that.
Okay, so when it comes to the other parts, the blood group part you were talking about earlier, whether A, B, A, single B, O, what about that one too? Does that mean you still have, you can go ahead, certain preventive measures can be put in place?
Exactly. We also wouldn't use that as a basis to not, you know, further on a prospective marriage or relationship. But the most important thing is that once you notice that, you know, the relationship has prospects, you certainly would have to start, you certainly would have to start doing background checks so you don't get too invested, and then later on, when everything is set, you are ready, you've bought your stuff, and then we tell you that it won't work. I mean, it may work, the marriage will work all right, but then you may have consequences, which may be there.
So telling somebody to go have this compatibility test, the blood group, what does it entail?
All right, so usually when you come to the hospital and then we want to do the blood test, so first of all, we check your blood group, and then we also want to check your genotype. The genotype is the most important thing that we have to test for.
So and it's one pool of the blood, and then
usually we can use
some
that.
of us, we don't want to be using too much.
Usually we can do that. So we want to check your genotype, and when I'm talking about genotype, the most important thing here is the sickle cell disease. Is the sickle cell disease. In Africa, a lot of people have the sickle cell trait. The sickle cell trait. So the hemoglobin, you know, that thing that makes the blood red. Exactly, that is hemoglobin. And everybody gets 2 genes that come together to give you your genotype. So you either have the A or S. The normal one is A, and the abnormal one is S. So you can, and you take 2, one from your mom, one from your dad. So if your father is, say, AA, and your mother is AA, then it means that all their children will be AA, because they will only get A from mother, A from father. Then the other pair will be A and A. Now, if the father is, say, AA, and the mother is AS, meaning the mother has one hemoglobin S gene, that's the abnormal one, then we say that the mother is a carrier because she has the potential of giving that S gene to the child. So for an AA father and AA mother, it could be vice versa. The child is likely to get A from the father, A from the mother, or A from the father, and S from the mother. And then the child becomes a carrier. There is no problem with that because the carriers don't show any symptoms. They don't have the sickle cell disease. They are just carrier. The problem comes when you have an AS mother and an AS father. The child can get A from the mother, A from the father, become AA, or get an A from the mother, get an S from the father, become AS carrier, you are okay, or get an S from the father and get an S from the mother. Danger zone. Then that we say you have sickle cell disease. And trust me, it's a very, very difficult, it's lifelong. And you know, there are people, they say they have crisis, sickle cell crisis, bone pain. They are almost always in distress. very little things trigger them, and then they have to go on multiple hospital admissions and transfusions, because then it's the red blood cell that is abnormal. And so they also have anemia, because then the body, once the body sees that this cell is abnormal, it breaks it down earlier than we usually break our cells. And so they suffer anemia. They have to come in for multiple transfusions. And trust me, it is not a nice disease to have. They go through a lot of pain. The patients themselves and then the relatives. Because it's very difficult to see your child in pain. I mean, a very young child, and you can see that the mother is in distress. Why did I do this to my child? How can I help? Why can't I do anything? These are questions that are very difficult to answer, yet we cannot do anything about it. All we can do is to, give them supportive treatment when they lose blood or become anemic. We transfuse them, manage their pain, make sure that they are well hydrated, and kind of like support them to live long. But it's very difficult, and that is what we are trying to prevent.
Okay.
AS and AS.
So I don't know if this is a safe question to ask, but can we predict? Is there a probability when it comes to these? Yes.
Well,
probability that your child that you're going to give birth to is going to be a sickle cell.
Sickle cell, exactly. So it is by chance. I mean, the normal conception, like for a man and woman to meet and then get pregnant, is by chance. And it's possible that all your children, if you have 4, all your children will be SS. Exactly. So that is what people don't understand, because they feel that maybe by chance that a child can get the A and an S and can be a carrier, or can get A here will be AA. Then it means that even if we have 4, then maybe only one
of them
is not true.
Okay.
That it doesn't work like that. All your children can be sickle cell disease patients. And so exactly, and so that's where we it's a bit difficult and dicey. Yeah.
Okay. So you said with the genotype as well, it's just with the blood. They have to take the blood sample.
Yes, we take blood sample.
All right.
Well, lately we can do in vitro fertilization, so assisted fertilization, where we are able to select the babies. Yes, there's been a success story, I think, in one of the hospitals. Yes. So I mean, it's expensive. If you have the means, if you have the means, then you can do it. But then you should plan for it. I mean, you don't start and then later in the middle, or else you run into trouble.
I get you. So we have had stories, or I believe that we've all, one way or the other, have heard a story where 2 people are found to be incompatible, and yet they have decided to go ahead with and still have decided like to give birth, maybe instead of other options like adoption and all that. Is all this, is it worth it?
Well, from the health perspective, if you have the opportunity to save a child from going through the pain, the trauma, the admissions, the missing schools, their friends and peers are playing, but they can't do same. If you have the opportunity to save a child yourself, the money, your time, your resources. So if you have the opportunity to take that decision, I think you should go for it. Just don't, help the child. Don't let the child come and go through this. That's all I would say. So I'll just advise you. It's a very difficult thing. Maybe you should go to the hospital once and then say you want to see a sickle cell disease patient and the parents. And trust me, it's so heartbreaking. Even for we, the health professionals, it's very difficult for us.
I did have a schoolmate when I was in SHS who had it, and it was like, you see her like the whole term. She comes to school. If you can gather the days, it will be like just for 2 weeks. But eventually she even passed on before we could. And that was when the whole sickle cell issue actually hit me.
Became real.
Now, I before we move away from the health, from the blood test yes, blood test, I want to ask, because there are people who are very comfortable with their blood group. And what I mean by comfortable is that my sister did a blood test and she's A positive. Okay. So it means that since she's my sister, we have the same blood. That is what we Ghanaians are. I mean, sometimes it takes something like marriage for us to, before we get to the hospital, to make that test. Yeah. Should it always be just the marriage, or when something happens, like in the case of someone who is pregnant and then maybe is having certain issues and has to go to the hospital for them to know the blood? Should it always be that? I think that we should, or this should be a good platform for us to advocate that people should know their blood tests on a general and their sickle cell. Yeah. Exactly.
So routinely, I mean, once maybe you go pass by the hospital, maybe you fall sick, malaria, and they're doing the test, you can ask that you want to know your blood group, and it will easily be done. It doesn't take long for that to be done. So I think once you pass by the hospital or anything, take the opportunity and then tell them that you want to do this test, or you can just walk in and then just do it. It's not difficult at all.
And it's not expensive too.
It's not as well. It shouldn't be expensive.
Okay, but it's worth it, right? So please do your blood test, whether you are ready for marriage or not. Yes, Patty, I'm talking to you as well. Do your blood test. The fact that you eat kenke, gakomi and all that doesn't mean that. I rest my case. All right, let's look at HIV and other sexually transmitted diseases, compatibility test.
Exactly.
Yes. So why is that necessary?
One other thing you have to do, as you said, is to test for sexually transmitted diseases, especially in people who have already had other sexual partners, or maybe you've already started having sexual intercourse with your partner. You need to test for sexually transmitted diseases because they are very common, and then you wouldn't know who has it and then who doesn't.
But if they've already started, then they should as well continue.
No, but then you
don't mind me.
The important thing, there are consequences. Some of them, they need to be treated too. So you will have to test so that you catch it early, treat it early, and then prevent the complications that will come with it. So let me start with, say, gonorrhea. We all know gonorrhea. A lot of people know gonorrhea. Gonorrhea likes moist places. So like your urethra, your throat, your eyes. These are some of the places that you can, some of the gonorrhea can hide. And it's good to test because then it can affect your, for a woman like this, it affects your reproductive system. It gives you an infection that affects your reproductive system, and you need to treat it because there are complications. Another one is syphilis. Syphilis is also very important to test because in women, usually syphilis will start by giving you a sore that is usually not painful, and then later when it develops, you get a rash, and then at the extreme end, they can give you brain damage.
Does necessarily have to be on your reproductive organ?
So usually it is on the reproductive organ, but it can be elsewhere too, depending on the type of, people, there's genital sex, oral sex, and all that. So depending, it can depend on where it will be exactly. And for pregnant women, syphilis is very important because it can cause stillbirths. It can cause stillbirths. And other syphilis, so the child will have congenital syphilis, congenital syndromes and all that. So we don't want that. So we want to test and then treat. And once you test and then you treat, we have to treat your partner.
Yes.
Now, the unfortunate thing that is happening is that people are having multiple sexual partners. So, Kofi slept with Amma, but Amma has slept with John, and John has already slept with Ajua and Irama, who may all have diseases. So it's like we are just passing it on from one. So Irama's disease can come to Amma when Amma has not seen Irama before.
And it can be a mixture as well.
Exactly. And so it's just being shared, like it's like a network now. One person opens branches everywhere, and then it's being shared that way.
Everywhere you go.
Yes. So you have to test and then treat. Another one is chlamydia. chlamydia is also important. These are all sexually transmitted diseases that we need to treat. Now, I've not spoken about the viral infections. The viral infections, we have human papillomavirus. Human papillomavirus is very important. It's one of the commonest sexually transmitted diseases. It usually doesn't give symptoms very early.
And it makes it dangerous.
Exactly. And there are different types, so many different types. There are types that cause cervical cancer. So there are some of the types that cause, it's implicated in causing cervical cancer. And so we have to be very careful. The most important thing, or should I say, abstinence we say is the best. But we know that, I mean, things are going on. So please use the condom, especially during this festive season. Please protect yourself. Protect yourself. It's very important.
Unfortunately, Frank has gone, so otherwise I would have given that message to him. But I'm sure we'll record this and give it to him later. Okay, so I want us to do the last one. I'm seeing fertility test here. That's a dicey one.
All right, yes. So before you get married, sometimes you may want to do a fertility test. For the woman, we want to look at her ovaries, we want to look at the uterus. That can we say now what dear no. The ovaries, majuana tutunkosiano. So that's the ovaries. Then now what dear no, sometimes ladies have something we call polycystic ovarian syndrome. It's very, I won't say it's very common, but it's common. A lot of women have it. Their menses wouldn't come 2-3 months, and then it will come flow very, small. They become hirsute.
I'm sure they think they are blessed.
So they begin to grow hair in places that they usually didn't have hair, like their chin or mustache, or on the chest, on the abdomen. They become hirsute, and then may suddenly gain weight. So weight, obesity, weight gain, and sometimes they develop diabetes. This makes fertility sometimes very difficult. Very difficult. So once you see your menses is irregular, you are beginning to have some of these symptoms, then you should see a gynec, and then we will treat you. And then hopefully it should increase your chances of fertility. For the men, we want to do mostly a semen analysis. So we'll take a sample of the sperm, the semen. We are looking at the count, the number of sperms you have, because you need a certain amount to be able to fertilize the egg. Then we are looking at the motility. We want sperm that can move forward, and not ones that will be going around in circles. And then we want to look at the morphology. So a sperm that has a head and a tail, because the sperm needs the tail to swim. And all that. So these are some of the fertility tests that we can do.
I'm seeing your last one here, genetic or chronic medical condition.
Yes. So well,
that'll be the last one, because our time is up.
So we also want to check whether you have hypertension, diabetes, sickle cell, asthma. These are conditions that you should know.
How does that affect the marriage?
So, well, not directly, but you should know if your partner is hypertensive and he's on any medications, so that just in case there's an emergency and your partner won't be able to tell his own medical history, we can ask you, and then you tell us. It makes the the management, the treatment easy, faster, and all that. And then you have to take care of your partner. If your partner is hypertensive and is on medications, you have to encourage them to take them, because it's very difficult to take medicines every day. So you have to know that, so you can encourage each other, and then live a healthy lifestyle.
Thank you very much. That's Dr. Nene there from University of Ghana Medical Center. You heard it all. There are a couple of tests you have to make. If you didn't hear anything at all, just know that, yes, you do have to make a blood test. That's blood group test. You do need to make a fertility test. You talked about genotype as well. Very, very important. The genetic or chronic medical conditions where hypertension and all that comes into play. And then last, of course, but not the least, that's the sexually transmitted diseases and HIV. You do need to take care of yourself. Remember that prevention is always better than cure. And if we can prevent it, why not? So that's coming from me, and of course, Pep. I have Mary also there. I have Patty and Blankson on the cameras there. I also have Joshua right there, making sure that I come to you, that you can see me, that you can watch me. So for me and the team, and Henry, of course, yes, he says if I don't mention him, he'll knock me. So taking care of our sound, it's bye-bye from us, but make sure that you do these tests. Don't go into marriage without them. Don't think you can guess them. It's not guesswork. Do these tests, and we'll see you tomorrow right here, same time, 6:30 a.m. Stay blessed. Happy new month, and enjoy the gobe. But leave mine for me. I'll be right there. So bye-bye.